Hi everyone, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today on the session on building blended learning through seminar management in Totara Learn 13. I'm Meredith Henson, Senior Solutions Consultant for Totara Learning, and I'm joined by Matt Lineker, Customer Success Manager. Hi Matt.
Hi Meredith, and hello to everyone who's just joining.
Hello everyone. I can see the number of participants is slowly climbing, so I'll take a little while to get through to the next slide. So thank you so much for joining us. Today will be a mix of slides, but primarily diving straight into a live site and doing a demo. I'm talking through some of the new functionality that's available across Totara Learn 13 in the seminar management tool. So questions are very much welcome. That we've got Matt on chat today, and Matt is going to be looking out on the chat for any questions or comments, although I do encourage you to post questions in the Q&A functionality within Zoom, because then we can mark them once they've been answered, so we'll be able to keep track of anything that we need to follow up on. But do keep an eye on chat still, because Matt will be posting links to various areas and generally keeping the discussion going and me going throughout today's session. So today's session will be recorded, or is being recorded, excuse me, and will be shared across via the community. You can find all of the recording for this session and all of the recordings of webinars in the Webinars on Demand search in the course catalogue on the Totara community. Matt may be able to post a link to that particular search in the chat. And if anything we don't get through questions today, or there's anything that you ask me that's too tricky for me to answer or requires a longer answer than we have time for today, we can follow up in the Totara community forums and post a longer response, or get into any further discussion that you need to. So again, welcome. We've got a few more participants now, so hello everyone. I'd like to say thank you for all of those that are new to these webinars, and as well as everyone who's joined us before. I was saying to Matt today that we're starting to see some regulars pop up, some names that we recognise. So thank you so much for you guys that we do recognise you as participants and as regulars, and we want to thank you so much for joining us again. So before I launch into things, we've got a quick poll just to see how you guys are, how familiar you are or confident you are in using the seminar functionality. No wrong or right answer, it's just an interest for us to see how you feel about things. So I've just launched a poll. Please feel free to vote or enter your feelings here. No judgments, no recording, it's just really for interest. While they're doing that, anything to add, Matt?
No, like Meredith says, feel free to ask questions. We'll get to them if we can. If we can't answer them, like I say, we'll post them in the forums afterwards. Yep, no question is too small as well. If there's something you're confused about, just even in terms of vocabulary, feel free to ask that. I know that we have our own vocabulary, so it might be new to you, so please feel free to ask.
Yes, and in fact, I didn't tell you about this, Matt, but I slid in a little vocab slide after we spoke. So you might see that coming up in a moment. All right, folks, well, I will move on to the next slide. We've got quite a few people who've already responded to the poll. I'll give it one more second, and then it's a perfect minute. And I will, I think I can share the results. Actually, I won't, because I'm not sure whether it was anonymous or not. So we had one person say that they're very confident. I'm kind of terrified already about the questions you're going to ask him, that is. We had the majority of people say that they are in fact confident in using the seminar functionality, which is great news. It means it's intuitive and that you're actively using it. 21% of you said they're not very confident, so hopefully we can address that today. 14% said I've never used the seminar functionality, which is exciting. This is exciting. And 0 of you said that you're an expert and you just wanted to see V13. And maybe next time we run something similar, you better answer that. So thank you for everyone that was involved in that poll. I appreciate your time. So today I will be focusing on Totara Learn because that's where the seminar functionality primarily exists. But of course, seminars and courses are available across Totara Engage as well. There's just no activity completion tracking and course completion tracking. They're merely a holder for content. But of course, then also there's the Totara Talent Experience platform, which includes Totara Learn, Totara Engage, our LXP, and Totara Reform, our performance management system, which can work as each of these products can work independently or together as three or any combination. And the mobile app supporting currently Totara Learn across the system. So this is the slide I didn't tell you about, Matt. Surprise. So I did think we do have our own terminology, particularly around seminar. So I just want to do a quick recap of structure and terminology here. So within the seminar management tool, it's an activity that sits within courses. So you need a course holder to add a seminar activity. Once you've created an activity, give it a name and specified the various settings, then you can set about creating events. And events may be made up of one or many sessions. And each of these sessions can have things like rooms and other assets associated with them. So we have the activity, we have the event, the session, and then the resources, whether they be assets like computers or services like catering and rooms. Okay, so I've got slides here mostly to prompt me, and so I can share the slides later. So I want to dive straight into some of the updates across 13. And to really make the big impact here, I want to start, in fact, looking at Totara 12 to remind you, and for those people that aren't even on 12 yet, where that shift or where these changes are shown across 13. So I'm logged in as a learner on just my local demo site of Totara 12. And you can see here I'm in a course that's got a course or a seminar activity called Basic Totara Training. And I can see all the various the various events and the sessions within the events here. I can go through and I can sign up for an event and click sign up. And my request was accepted. And likewise, I can cancel my booking as well. And I choose not to give a reason in this case. If I want to look at all events, I can click onto the name of the event or view all events. And this is my list of upcoming events as well as previous events. And I can filter by room at this stage. And I can drill into things like room details, about it in terms of the functionality available as a learner. Just very quickly, want to log in as an admin to that very same course, and to remind you, as an administrator or course trainer, now I see a similar interface, but I have this options column here where I can go through and manage attendees, look for a little bit more event info, cancel if I'm signed up for it, sign up for it if I'm not, cancel, duplicate, and edit that event through these list of icons and links. So switching that off and thinking now about Totara 13, I have a similar setup here where I'm logged in as a learner on Totara 13. I'm in a course, not to throw you off, I just don't have a column on the right-hand side, but this is exactly the same. This is a course with a single seminar activity that contains a number of sessions and events within that. And so you can immediately see there's been quite an improvement and cleanup to the design. Little changes that make a big impact, particularly for me or for administrators who look at a lot of seminar events at once. You can see here that you can really easily see the different sessions that are linked to a single event, whereas before it was a little difficult. And just a reminder here to kind of match them all up. It's easier when you hover over them, but it was a little tricky to see what sessions belong to which event. Where you can also see I have a go-to event icon here, reminder that I'm logged in as a learner here. So I can go to an event here, and my sign up form is now a kind of a separate pop-up or more of a status area where I can read a little bit more about the session, make sure that it's everything that I need in terms of the times and the location. I can enter in any standard fields or any custom fields as I like, and I can sign up. And once I sign up, and noting that for this particular activity, I don't require approval, so it should now tell me that I am booked, and so that's now my status. And in exactly the same area, I can then go and cancel booking as I need. So there's a nice interface for learners in terms of viewing and signing up for events. I can also, in the summary of all of the items here, see very much at a glance all the upcoming and past events. Again, I've got a nice view of what sessions belong to which events. And I also have additional filters across this page here. So previously I just had room, but I can also look for certain types of event. I can look at the booking status for myself as the logged in user. So I can look at things that are particularly maybe that are waitlisted or that I've cancelled. I've got rooms here as well and facilitators, which I'll talk about in a little bit more detail in a moment. So that's kind of it from the learner experience now. For those who are eagle eye, you'll spot this join now button, and I want to go back into that in just a second. I'd also point out before I move on to administrator, I've got this sign up period column here, which is completely empty. And any standard and custom fields relating to events will display on this page. However, as an administrator, you can in fact remove any empty fields. So if there's no events or sessions that have a particular sign up period or relate to a custom field, then this column will disappear and tidy up that page. So you won't see extra information or extra columns for information where that information isn't currently populated. So moving on to administrator rights. So I'm going to log out as Lisa. She can take a little break here and into the same course as an administrator. I should say for today's session, I will be stopping at certain points to answer questions. Do pop them in the Q&A. And I'm about to come up to one of those stop points, but I just want to finish my flow in terms of this look and feel and the UI and UX improvements for an administrator. So in Totara 13, logged in as administrator, same interface for a trainer or an editing trainer across here. And again, I've got that nice area where I can see what events and sessions, how they link together. I can see those that have started or are underway. There are slightly, you might not be able to see that on Zoom, but this is a light gray and this is a black. And I can, rather than all of those editing icons, and links, that's been streamlined. So now I've got a expandable more actions menu here. So I can go in and complete those items. I add attendees, copy, delete, edit as I need to. And if I'm to go to that same summary page with all of the filters and searching, I see all of those same filters as a learner does. However, I've got an advanced option here where I can highlight those items that I need to, say, take attendance for, or over the maximum or under minimum. So it acts as a bit of a to-do list for a trainer. So any questions so far, Matt?
A couple of questions coming in so far. So just for this one, how do you add a tick box for dietary needs, for example, to a customized box?
Right, so like what I added before. So for that, I'm just going to open this admin menu in a new window, so you'll see it pop up in a minute. This is called a custom field. And when you go through as an administrator to the seminars area, there's a section called custom fields, and there's various forms or elements where you can add these custom fields. So for when you create an event, you can have a range of different fields. The one that I did before was for sign up. So on the sign up form, I can add my dietary options, and it's a list of a menu of choices. So I can go through and I can add items there. And so that's how you add those things to the sign up form. But likewise, you can add it to things like the event, or for assets, or rooms, or facilitators, or even prompt people to enter more information when they cancel, or if you as an administrator or facilitator cancel an event.
Thanks, Meredith. I've just linked to a video on that in the Academy as well, because there's a video specific just to doing this as well. Next question. Besides Zoom, is MS Teams supported?
So I'll go into the webinar thing in just a second, and I'll elaborate a bit more. Short answer is yes. The longer answers are, I need to kind of explain how Zoom and MS Teams and web, I can't think of any all of a sudden, but any other web conferencing tool works.
And one more? Or...
Sure.
Are events added to your Outlook calendar after you sign up? If not, will Totara provide a reminder or a notification?
Oh, I decided to go to the next slide instead. Yes, so when you sign up, when you create a seminar event, you can choose how the individual, the learner, receives notification, and that includes options for an ICS file, which is an Outlook or Google Calendar invite. You can also schedule reminders using the notifications system. So you can build in a series of pre-configured notifications and scheduled notifications, as well as generate ad hoc notifications as you so need. So yeah, you can schedule and build those reminders, and those reminders or those notifications are also placeholder based, so that you can personalize and customize the content of it. So it can say, hey Meredith, don't forget you've got a session starting tomorrow, or the 19th of November. Don't forget to bring your laptop, and your facilitator will be, insert the facilitator's name here, it will be in room, insert room here, etc.
Great, thanks, Meredith. Do you want to, should we carry on and then come back to more questions later?
Yeah, could. Let's get through it. I might answer some of the burning questions that you might have, because I know that I'm ignoring some functionality, which is very exciting right now, but I promise I will come to it. Okay, so there are a range of these UI improvements. So across Totara Learn 13, we see these UI and UX improvements as alongside a range of new features and some updated reporting. And all of this together adds a number of new training models or opportunities for people. And one of the main things around here is around attendance tracking. So what we have is a range of new options around attendance tracking. And the big one is session level attendance tracking. So previously, you would be required to mark attendance only at the event level, which could be a little bit cumbersome if you had a session that the first session was, a week or a month before the following or the last session. So you'd have to kind of remember what happened a month ago. And there's, of course, events where maybe they're run every week for a month. So you would only really be able to mark attendance at the end. And a range of other challenges with only being able to mark at the attendance level. Now what we can do is, in fact, choose to take attendance at the session level. So this is a past event that occurred, I haven't taken attendance for yet. And what we can do is take attendance at the event level as well as at the session level. So if I go into the session level tracking, I can see that I'm taking attendance for the session that was run on the 5th of November. I can, as always, bulk select users and set their attendance. That's not new functionality. However, what is new functionality is a new attendance status, which is the no-show status, so a valid no-show, which the unable to attend rather, which is the valid no-show. So this is where an individual has a valid reason for not being able to attend or has been unable to attend due to circumstances outside of their control, rather than just not showing up. So you can mark attendance as you need to across, I'll make a shortcut and say everyone here is fully attended except for a couple of people who maybe didn't show up. And then I can save attendance at that session level. And if I was to skip over to that initial session and just go straight to events, I can look at a summary of all of the attendance settings across however number of sessions that we had. And you can see the number of fully attended sessions were 1, partially attended sessions 1, etc. So I can then make a judgment at the event level whether the individual was considered fully complete or fully attended at the event level. So I can basically see a summary of all of the session level attendance. Now this is really neat because this does things like not only simplifies it for sessions that are run across a series of days or weeks or months, it means that you can accommodate a range of different training models, and that could be where an individual can do training. There's 2 parts to the training, like a morning and an afternoon session, and they might not have to do those 2 days or 2 half days on the same day so that they're not away from their desk for so long. So you can have 2 partially attendeds that equals a fully attended. Likewise, you can accommodate training where people might have to dip in and out of the training, maybe an hour a week or an hour a month around CPD training, and you can again accommodate those training models. You can also do things like have a basic and advanced, or a theory or a practical, where some people may need to do the theory or the basic, and some people might need to do the practical and the advanced. So depending on who you are and what you do, you being fully attended might mean a different thing to someone else who is the first aid officer or the health and safety officer, who needs to know something a little extra than you do just to be healthy and safe in your job. Now, there's probably a range of other exciting models and things you can do with session level training. So if you've got any ideas, do share them in chat. If you can think of anything that you'll now be able to do, please let us know. We'd be excited to hear that. Now, those of you, again, who are super observant, which is probably all of you, given I can see quite a few questions popping up, is that we also now have the ability to grade an event. So I want to show you what some of these site administration settings are around that. So I'm just going to lift the hood a second on this particular activity and go into the settings. And there's a few new settings here. So one of them I mentioned about being able to hide those empty columns. This is this little setting here, which makes a big difference to that page and streamlines it. We can also, because we have the event and session level tracking, attendance tracking, we can choose when we want to mark attendance. So it could be at the start or at the end, and at the beginning of the session, things are 15 minutes before the session. So you can choose when you take attendance or when you must take attendance. And we have this option around grading. So the really exciting thing about this is that it now separates attendance from grade. So you can have engagement and contribution and collaboration methods rather than just being sat in a room or attending a live event. So previously, if you were marked as fully attended, you got 100% or 100 points. If you were fully partial, 50, and a no-show, you were 0. And that could then be edited directly within the total grade book, but that was a bit of a clunky workaround. So now we have those grading options directly within the attendance tracking area. And in addition, we have the ability to set up a passing grade as well. So jumping back to that site, you can now see that if I was to set someone as fully attended, I can also offer a grade. Noting that the event grade, passing grade was 80, I might find that Cora was fully attended, but playing on her phone the entire time, so I might offer her a fail for whatever reason. And likewise, someone that maybe was running late, completely outside of their control. Maybe they were using public transport, even though they were considered partially attended because perhaps they were half an hour late, they were still active and contributing within the event, so we offer them a pass. So we've got some really exciting options in terms of grade and being able to reward engagement across these events rather than just being logged on or being sat in a classroom. Now, we also have some exciting stuff around attendance in terms of accommodating big events and also virtual events. So one of those things is being able to upload attendance in bulk via CSV. So once the world is back to normal and we start having conferences again, we know that we often have to scan a barcode or QR code to enter an event, and that information is tracked and usually stored in CSV format. And that can be downloaded and then re-imported into Totara, so you can do things like offer additional resources for people that attended, award badges or certificates, or offer a range of kind of knowledge checks or reskilling, or perhaps even share slides with people that attended your event based on this upload. And because CSVs are very fussy files, we've also provided a template for upload. So you can export a CSV export file and use that as a basis for the headers that you'll need in the format that you'll need to re-upload event attendance. Okay, attendance related questions, Matt.
So Jill's got a couple of questions. So just there where you're showing the event attendance and their grade, for example. So if the learner fails the course or doesn't turn up to the course, where does it show for them? Does it show on their record of learning?
It doesn't, well, it won't show on their record of learning unless it's the only course completion requirement. So if attending this event is the only requirement and they fail with the course completion being tied to the completion of the seminar activity, which is tied to full attendance, then they'll be shown as not complete or not passed. However, it will just be shown on their summary page, so that summary page here, they'll have a status rather than session over. They'll see things like attended or did not show. So they'll see their attendance status instead of session status.
Okay, thanks, Meredith. One more on this. Is the take attendance sortable or at least alphabetical? So for events with over 100 names, it's easier to take attendance, for example.
Yeah, it would be. It does not look like it is. Nope, not at this stage. I suppose you could export it and then and sort it and then re-import it if you've got over 100 attendees. That would be one way of doing it. But at this stage, it's based on who was first in terms of attendance, who was booked first.
Okay, thank you. Those are questions on that for now. So should we carry on and then come back?
Yeah, please. Thank you. Alrighty, so now I want to talk about stuff that I've been deliberately ignoring. It's probably been driving you crazy. So facilitators, for those of you, that seems like the majority of you, given the poll at the start, who are already using seminar functionality, you'll be awfully relieved to see that we've now added facilitators as an element or resource that we can link to events and sessions, or to sessions. So we have rooms. And we can create assets and link assets to sessions, but now we've got this new element or resource called facilitators. And those facilitators can be internal or external individuals. They can, if they're external, they're just a name and a bio. If they are an internal person, we can in fact link that to an account within the system if you have permission to do so. And we've also tied this in with some improvements on creating new assets and facilitators and rooms. So before, if you wanted to add an asset or a room ad hoc, so within the activity, there'd be a little link down the bottom here. Now we've added it to the main navigation, and I can create a new facilitator as I need. And because I'm creating this at the course level, I don't have permission at this point to add this as an external or an internal user. But if I was creating a facilitator at the site level, I would be able to choose that they're an internal user and select their account, so their profile, and link the name of the facilitator to an account within the system, which would then mean I could have calendar management and notification management and facilitator management in terms of a report builder to see when people are booked and where they're booked across the system and linked to an actual individual. And like any of the other assets or rooms, I can create my own custom fields as I need to. So I've added Matt now as a facilitator for this particular activity. Now you'll also spot that we have, for those of you who are very familiar with the tool, is that we can now have multiple rooms. And again, this allows us to extend the different training models that we might have across the system. So this will accommodate things like conjoined rooms and breakout rooms, and maybe a backup room if you aren't really sure how popular an event is, you know, those rooms which you can cut in half or expand out depending on the number of users. Now you can have any number of rooms associated with a particular session. So those are moving through the slides. So they've talked about grading and the facilitators, which means I was lying to you at the very start when I showed you that first icon. In fact, now the structure is seminar, event, session, and then rooms and facilitators and assets. So we've now got this new element that we can associate with a session event. Alrighty, so now I want to talk a little bit about the join now option that you've again probably seen on this page and wondering what I was talking about. And apologies to the person that asked about Zoom and MS Teams earlier. I'll now answer your question. Thank you for being patient. So what we've also added across the rooms functionality is the ability to create a space for a virtual room. Now we've decided to start with, this is a very light integration. So all it is a link to your preferred web conferencing tool and a room within that. So for those that are familiar with Zoom, when you create a Zoom meeting, there's a unique URL. Like this event that we're all joined on today, there was a unique link to join that Zoom. We can create that as a room and put that Zoom link within it. Likewise, if we're using MS Teams and you can create an event which has a unique URL, you can use that. Same with GoToMeeting or Adobe Connect or any other of your web conferencing tool. We've decided this approach for a couple of reasons. One, integrating with webinar software and external software can be tricky because you know, we have to change every time they change. Two, which ones to use and which ones not to use. But three, so we will be eventually you know, hoping to have a tighter integration, but this light integration for now means that it's completely agnostic as to which is your preferred webinar tool. We know that there's lots out there, and providing it as a link means that it will automatically work with any of your web conferencing tool as long as there's that unique URL. And that URL will be converted to a join now button. And you can see at the bottom of my browser bar, if you can see here, this is actually a link to the event that we're sitting in right now. So I won't go ahead and click it, but that would, just like in your email when you were signed up for this event, you click that link and it launched Zoom and prompted you to log in, etc. It would do the same with Zoom. It will do the same with MS Teams and any other of your web conferencing tool. And that join now button appears 15 minutes before and for the duration of any of these virtual events to anyone that is signed up for the event and to administrators and to any facilitators that have been associated with the event. I can see a lot of questions popping up. So Matt, how are we looking?
Yep, we've got a few. Can we start answering some?
Mm-hmm.
So if the event is fully booked, is it possible for a participant to declare interest via the seminar enrollment method?
Kind of. So rather than declare interest, you can go on a wait list. So it's kind of the same thing. Declare interest is where you have an event which doesn't have a date and there's no wait listing set on. So you declare interest in saying, if this is going to run, I'm interested in joining. If you've got it, like I've set up this item here where I haven't got a date, but I've turned on the wait list, people can join that wait list. So once I decide on a date, then they'll be added as an attendee. So yes, but depending on how you set it up.
Thanks, Meredith. So what exactly is the difference between a trainer and a facilitator? Because most of our customers are looking for an overview report where the trainer has planned for which training sessions in the future. So can the facilitator be used in combination with the trainer functionality so that you enroll the trainer as a trainer into the course and select the same person as a facilitator, for example?
Absolutely, yeah. So facilitator is just the kind of broad name that we chose to use for whoever's going to be running the session. So if you happen to be the trainer or the editing trainer or the teacher at the course level, you can add yourself as a facilitator for the event or for other people or both. So it's just that official linking is the only difference. Noting that a facilitator is also a thing like one of those placeholders I was talking about in a notification, and also searchable, so people can search for people that they like to, to learn from, and avoid people that perhaps, I don't know, that they haven't got on with well in the past. And that's really the only difference. It's just terminology and how are they linked to an event.
Thanks. Can the users who don't book onto an event with a link to a conference tool like Zoom still click on the link, or is it only visible to those who have booked?
It's only visible to those who are booked, or administrators or facilitators in the event. I should say, or trainers at the course level or facilitators in the event. So anyone with permission to edit the event, and anyone that's signed up and confirmed for an event will see the Join Now button.
Thanks, Meredith. Would you like any more right now?
I got two more things to cover, and then we can knock through the rest.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks for your questions, everyone. So we've talked about the Join Now, and some improvements in the way that you create assets, both ad hoc within the activity and at the site level. It's just a nicer interface and more streamlined, particularly when you're doing it from the activity. We've also done some other updates across the reporting tool. So now we have report sources that can report on things like facilitators, multiple rooms, and reflects that structure that I showed you a moment ago around activity and events and sessions. We've also converted some of the reports that you'll see within courses, like the waitlist report, for example, declare interest report, are now embedded reports, which means you can configure the fields or columns that display and even export them as you like. And the final thing I want to bring your attention to today is a change right at the bottom of the settings here around activity completion. We've added a new option here, which is the require event over for X number of days. And what that means is that you can essentially delay completion of a seminar event, even if they've been marked as partially or fully attended and have received a passing grade. And this would maybe accommodate a model where the user or the learner is offered a chance or a window to submit an assessment or complete another activity, or maybe demonstrate the behaviours or knowledge that was passed on during the session. So maybe they have a week to demonstrate active listening, for example. So you can add that in. So you would turn it on and then specify the number of days that they might have before that activity is fully marked as complete. Okay. So just so you are aware, because we've gone through things quite quickly, and they've made some assumptions given the results of the poll that most of you are fairly familiar with the seminar tool, that there are a range of fantastic Academy courses. Matt's posted a couple of links in there. They are very comprehensive. and I recommend you have a look at them. There's also the help documentation, and within that there is a version comparison table. So seminar management's not the only activity and functionality that's seen a major update across Totara 13. So if you're on 12 or an earlier version and want to see the differences, I encourage you to have a look at that comparison table and see what functionality you might gain by pushing through an upgrade. There's of course the Totara community and particularly the forums where you can ask questions and get help from both community members as well as the support and the Academy team. And we've got a range of new resources across the website. So there's new feature sheets and ebooks, and there's some great blogs and white papers, not specifically on seminar management necessarily, but also worth a read. So those questions, Matt.
Okay, yep, so quite a few, so I'll start off.
To the page in preparation, yep.
So currently the past events show up with the oldest at the top. We are on version 11. It looks like that's different on the page. Is that a version 13 update?
Yes, it is. Well done. I don't know who that is, but congratulations. That was on my list to mention and I skipped over it. But yes, we've improved the logic in which it's displayed. So the next running is listed first on upcoming, and the last completed is in the past events, and you know that you can actually expand that menu. So extra kudos. Doing double thumbs up at the camera right now, but it's not on. So that's for you, whoever asked that question.
The next question, are you able to set visibility at the seminar event level in the V13? We often have events for a region, for example, and we only want users in that region to be able to see the particular event, but we don't have that in option 11, version 11.
Not at the event. Yeah, events aren't a context where you can hide things. What you probably have to do in 11 and now, and what you would need to do is have multiple activities within your course and then restrict the visibility of those activities based on language or audience or whatever you like. So grouping all of those events together into a single activity and then restricting view of those activities to various groups of learners.
Thanks, Meredith. Can we filter events with an event custom field? I know that on version 12 we can't do this.
Well, you could create a custom report, and all of these fields, including custom fields, are report source options. So yeah, not within the page that we're looking on now, but you could create a custom report and do that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. What would happen with the bulk upload if someone attended but they weren't booked? Does it just skip them?
If they attended but weren't booked, I think it would throw a warning. I don't think it would skip. I think it would let you know that wasn't processed, but it wouldn't automatically add them because they would have to be linked to an account. So you'd have to some manual intervention to correct that. Okay,
would you like any more today, or should we answer them via text?
Oh, how many are there?
Look, 4 or 5 more.
Okay, well let me get to the run the last slide and the poll, and then we'll see how much time we've got left. Thanks, Matt. So just to remind you that there are more sessions coming. So Matt and I will be running a session on the Total Talent Experience platform. So that's all 3 products together and how they can work together. That's on the 25th of November. Crikey, that's next week, isn't it? And then we're taking a break across Christmas, because Christmas and New Year. And we'll be resuming on the 27th of January. We will be doing a session on multi-tenancy. Now, based on feedback from the reporting session that we did last week, it seemed like competencies was high up on the list, but vote now, get your suggestions in now for what you'd like us to cover in the new year. We've got some ideas, but we'd really like to hear from you. So if you've got any other ideas, do pop them in the chat and let us know what you'd perhaps like us to run a session for. So I do have a second poll here, and I will now run that. And this is, again, just out of interest. There's no right or wrong answer. And we're just interested in to see how the COVID pandemic has affected your use of seminars, and whether you're using seminars a whole lot more, just a little more, the same, or for some reason less, or even a lot less, which is interesting results. So do get your answers in. Matt, I'll have another question while we're doing this.
Okay, so Jill's asking a little left field. We often send employees on external training courses through seminar events. We're required to get attendance certificates for the providers, but we rely on our memory to chase the provider or the employee for these. Is there a way to set something in the system to remind us or tell us what certificates from external bodies have or have not been received?
Oh, it depends on how you receive them. Okay, well, there's one thing you could probably do, because it depends on if they're uploading them. Yeah, sure. But if it's just emailing them, then the system has no way of knowing whether they've been sent or not. Perhaps what you could consider doing is investigating the event monitoring functionality. Matt might be kind enough to post a link to the help documentation around event monitoring. And what that allows you to do is build rules for monitoring or watching out for certain events across the system, and that an administrator builds those rules. And then once there are rules, as an individual, you can subscribe to those rules or those essentially alerts for when those events happen via your profile. Well, it takes a little bit of jiggery pokery to get it right, but I maybe have a play with that, and maybe you can send a get a reminder when someone adds a file to an area in the course that is those certificates. That's me thinking on my feet, so hopefully that works for you, Jill. Okay, I'm going to end this poll. We've got some interesting results. Most of you voted, thank you so much. Wow, pretty even split. So I'm going to share the results there. I'm not sure if there's anything too scary in those results. So pretty even. Just nudging ahead is that at 29% that we're using seminars a lot more, which is interesting, is what we probably guessed. But interesting to know if you'd like to share for those that said that you're using seminar less or a lot less. I wasn't really expecting those results. If you'd be willing to share us why you're doing that, that would be interesting. If I was to hazard a guess, I guess you're scheduling things through web conferencing, but it would be interesting to know. Thank you so much for sharing, everyone. How are we going for time? I think we'll wrap there. It's getting on, and I've been talking for a while now. I'd be sick of the sound of my voice. So any questions I didn't get to, Matt will send those through, and we'll pop them into the community once we're up and sharing the recording. So thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Matt, very much for looking after me and everyone in chat. Let's show Matt some love in chat with a few smiles to say thank you for always being the best Matt on chat. Otherwise, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you joining us, and look very much forward to speaking to you, or speaking at you even again. Anything to add, Matt?
No, thank you. Yep. And yeah, some of those questions we'll come back to, but thanks everyone for participating today and coming along, and see you at the next one.
Excellent. Thanks, everyone. Bye.